How is Arizona football at the point they are in this season, and is there anything that Arizona can do to correct this? We're going to look back at how we got to this point.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it Locked On Wildcats. I'm your host, Mike Luke. This show is brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Okay, now we are going to talk a lot of Arizona football this show, briefly touch on Dwayne Aristode as well. But first, the big thing we got to talk about here is how are we at this point? And we are going to go basically position by position unit and say, all right, how is Arizona here? Is there anything that Arizona can do to fix all of this? Because it looks absolutely atrocious on the field. First, we're going to talk about the quarterback room. And where this stands with this is I don't know what has happened here. I don't know what this staff is doing. Listen, Noah Fifita, I refuse to believe that Noah Fifita can't play football or that he just stopped for learning how to play football. That's just something that I can't believe. And when you watch him right now, it is insane. They have him he's dropping back 7 to 8 steps, and then he's dropping back 7 to 8 steps even further, and he's throwing the ball 15 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. The thing last year that was so impressive about him is that he would climb in the pocket. Now he doesn't climb in the pocket. Now he is just basically running backwards and backwards and backwards and then throwing it and hoping that, somebody comes up with the football. There doesn't seem to be any idea, any frame of reference for anything that is going on. And I think that is something that is incredibly frustrating if you're an Arizona fan, is that how are we to this point in the Brent Brennan era where you knew that you were inheriting a pretty loaded offense and you have no real identity of anything. I think that's what's incredibly frustrating. So Noah has obviously regressed. Now, some of it is on Noah. Noah's made some very poor reads for sure, but there's also things too where you've got wide receivers that aren't making the right routes. I mean, that aren't shallowing out enough. I mean, the Montana Lamonius Craig interception, you had two guys right in the area and he didn't even go for the ball. So I'm not going to pin all of that one on Noah as well. So I think that's obviously something that you've got to look at. You got to look at for sure. And then what are you doing then is to set him up? There's no quick hitters. There's no anything. There's just no semblance of any form of a realistic passing game. And I think that's just what's frustrating for so many folks, is that how are we at this stage? I don't know how we're at this stage. And that's so again, when it comes to quarterback coaching, when it comes to the quarterback play, it's been abysmal. But like I said, I don't believe for a second that Noah Fifita just forgot how to play football. And so that's why I'm going to still pin a lot of this on the coaching staff. Noah Fifita's got to get a real OC in here. And when you get a real OC in here, then I think that you can maybe get back to a little bit of stuff, but I just don't get it. It has made no sense to me whatsoever on any of this. So we will find out what exactly is what's going on with that one. Now, one part that I got no real problem. I got no real problem with the running backs situation. But when it comes to Alonzo Carter, it's a solid running back room. I think he's done a pretty good job. Quali Conley is solid. Kedrick Reesano is solid. Heck, I think you could make the case that Kedrick Reesano probably needs more carries, not less carries. When he gets the ball, things happen. I got no problem at all with Alonzo Carter. I think Alonzo Carter has been a good coach here for the U of A, and I think that his running back room has been solid. Like I said, I got no real issue with him. Quali Conley is, he's been solid. And one thing that I don't understand is some of the play calling, throwing it to Sam Olsen on 3rd and inches, and then running it with Quali. That made no sense. Run it twice right there. That makes a lot more sense to me. But that's kind of where it's at with that. Alonzo Carter, though, the running back room, solid B. No real problems there. Wide receiver room, I got to give Bobby Wade a bad grade. I don't know what else to say here. You had the best wide receiver in the country in Teteroa McMillan, who, the body language has just been off for quite a while now. It just hasn't looked good. I don't know what exactly is going on there, but it just doesn't feel like it's the same thing that we've seen in years past where it was happy-go-lucky. That just doesn't appear to be the case at all with him. And I think that's kind of what's a little bit concerning. Now, again, he's still putting up his numbers, but it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't look the same. And I think that's something where if you're Arizona, you got to be a little bit concerned because so much of football is optics. So much of football is how does a guy, look? And, again, with T-Mac, you've got the plays where you're going up for a ball. You're going up, instead of going up with two hands, you're going up with one hand, and it just doesn't make a ton of sense. Nobody else in the receiving corps has developed at all, from Jeremiah Patterson to Montana Lamonius Craig, to Ramello Murphy, Devin Hyatt. I don't know why you can't put A.J. Jones out there. That makes no sense to me as well. But as far as that goes, this has not been a well-coached group by Bobby Wade. I don't know what else to say to it. It just hasn't been a well-coached group, and that's pretty much what I'm going to put at. So as far as the receiver development and everything, got to give him a D because, again, T-Mac's awesome, but outside of T-Mac, there's been nothing. And if it wasn't for T-Mac, then this would have been a clear F. This has definitely been one of the positions that has been severely downgraded with Jed Fish's departure. And I don't know that this would have been a problem with him here. But like I said, this coaching staff, Bobby Wade, has not done a good job with this room. There's really no other way to put it. Okay, now at the tight end position, this is definitely going to get an F. You've got a guy in Kean Burnett that I have no clue why Kean Burnett doesn't play more, why he isn't out there more, why he isn't getting more reps. All of that and more, it makes absolutely no sense to me at all. With Kean Burnett, he's a guy that has shown that he can be a game breaker. And for whatever reason, Sam Olsen is out there more. Sam Olsen's not good. I don't know how else to put this. Sam Olsen is not good. He doesn't catch the ball. He doesn't go anywhere with it. This fascination on having to play him is absolutely insane. Again, that's another one. I don't get what they are doing. And you saw all throughout camp, that they were going to use the tight end. They were going to use a lot of different things, and they really haven't used the tight end at all. And I think that's a major issue with this coaching staff, with this roster. Because, again, Kean Burnett is the guy that should be the dude out there, and he is not getting those reps. I don't know what exactly is going on, why they are not doing that, but whatever the case may be, that it's nearly impossible to give them a good grade when it comes to the tight end position because there hasn't been a just hasn't really been a good thing about it at all. So you got to look at that and be like, all right, well, that's not good coaching. There's no other way to put it. And then with the offensive line, I know everybody likes Josh Oglesby, but I don't know what else to say here. Josh Oglesby and that line has been, for the talent that it has, it's been underperforming. And I don't know what else to say right there. It's been bad. You got a lot of times this late in the season where you've got guys that are not, they're not pulling in the right direction. They're not doing things. And that's an issue. And that's going to continue to be an issue, I believe. So there's obviously that. I think with Big Jonas Sabanea, Wendell Moy, Josh Baker, Deuced, Rhino, you got to be able to have more than what you've shown. And so far it's just been bad. Another one, I don't know how else to put this one. It's just, it's that bad. So you got to give Josh Oglesby a bad grade here. I know that people like Josh Oglesby, and, I'd love to come back here and say that I was wrong, but the O-line has been abysmal as well. And listen, there's really no other way to put that one. So you got to give that one a bad grade. Now we're going to talk with the defense, where I think you are going to have a little bit better of a defensive. We'll have a little bit better of a kumbaya moment for the defense. We're going to get to that. But first, let's talk a little bit about LinkedIn. With LinkedIn, here's the thing. Everybody knows somebody that got a job through LinkedIn. The great thing about LinkedIn as well is that, and again, we've been over this a billion times, is that it works. Here, post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/, Locked On College. Now, here's the great thing. It's not just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for new jobs, but might be a perfect role in a given month. Over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. Again, this is the stop. This is your one-stop shop. Why make things more difficult for yourself than you need to be? Go to linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Post your job for free. This is where it's at. Again, make it easier on yourself. Whether you're looking for a job or you're looking to hire somebody, this is your one-stop shop. Check it out, linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the defense. All right, the defense has definitely been better for Arizona. I have no quibbles at all with the defense. As a matter of fact, I'm more than okay with the defense and how they performed. They've been ravaged by injuries at this point. You don't lose somebody like a Gunnar Maldonado. You don't lose somebody like a like a Traden Stukes and get better. That's just not what that's just not how things are. You don't get better with that. Also, so there's obviously that. When it comes to this defense, though, let's just go position by position. Defensive line, I think he's done a good job. I have no problem with the defensive line. And, I was kind of on Joe Sumelo earlier in the season, but they've done a nice job. I've got no problem with it, whether it's from Stanley Taufo to Isaiah Johnson to whoever. He's done a nice job there. You got Chuba back, and then Trey Smith, Chase Kennedy, Ty. Listen, it hasn't been a great unit, but it's been more than good enough. And I think that's where you got to be more than okay with that. Now, so the D-line, I'm going to give the D-line a B-. Again, it hasn't been great, but I think considering everything you had, it's been solid. And I think you've also played the right players. You're getting guys off the field like Lance Kennelly, who just quite frankly isn't very good. You're giving Chase Kennedy more of a chance. That to me is obviously something that's very good as well. So I'm totally cool with how the defensive line has played. If you had told me going into the year that it would be a B- grade, I'd be totally cool with that. That's kind of where we're at with that. Now, when it comes to how they've been used. The one thing about it is there has been problems with contain on the outside, no doubt about it. And you can watch it for 5 minutes and see. But overall, that has been something, and it reared its head against BYU as well, which is an issue, obviously. But overall, I can't, considering the talent on the team, they are there's really no other way to put it. And so I give them a B-, talent and all considered. I think they've done a really good job. And all right, now let's talk about the linebackers. Now, I do think we're at the stage with the linebackers where you got two guys. You've got Jacob Manu, and not only do you have Jacob Manu, you've got Tay Brown. Those are your two guys. But with both those dudes, though, they've both been good. Now, the problem with Manu is Manu getting ejected. Listen, to me, there's got to be two different levels of targeting. One with malicious intent, where that goes. You're like, all right, you're getting out of here. We'll see you next game. That wasn't what happened with Jacob Manu. And to kick Jacob Manu out of the game, I think that's insane. Now, again, that's definitely not why Arizona lost, but that was also but things like that, I don't get in college football how that, I don't get how that happens, but those two guys have been really good. The problem is that you haven't really gotten anybody else in there. Leviticus Sua was a swing and miss. He was a 4-star kid. He just hasn't been good. but so there's really that. But there's just no really depth. There's just no real depth there. But overall, they've been better. And I think the thing about it, too, is when the D-line's better, that's where Jacob Manu is better. I'm going to give this unit a C. The thing about it, too, is that it's not like it's a bad unit, but I think we're kind of at the stage where that it just kind of is what it is. You got two players and you got to hope that they don't get hurt. Otherwise, you're going to be in a little bit of trouble. That was something I was a little disappointed they weren't able to address. Pretty much, that was something that they didn't really address, and I was a little disappointed in that. I like Danny Gonzalez. I think he's a good dude. We'll go with a B- on that one as well. Again, the defense, I don't really have a ton of problems with. Now let's talk about when it comes to the DBs. DBs are fascinating for me because you've dealt with a ton of injuries, obviously. Gunnar Maldonado being out, not only Gunnar Maldonado being out, you've also got traded Stukes. Those are really, really big. Those are really, really big problems. But overall, can't complain. Marquise Groves Killebrew, though, that was an odd play. Dwayne in that play against BYU, I thought that was the turning point in the game where he was thrown deep or off a trick play. Everybody was back there, and Marquise Groves Killebrew, who I looked like he had never played football before. He kind of skipped out of the way, and it was like, whoa, what's going on there? That was a bizarre play. That was one of the oddest plays I've ever seen. Listen, and with Tacario Davis, if he had hands, would be the best defensive back in America by a mile. He's always around the ball. He has good instincts when it comes to that. He's physical. He can do a lot of different things. He's a good football player. But man, the interceptions that he drops are just, they're basic, man. These are Pop Warner type things, and you kind of wonder if he's gotten into his head or what it is. But that brings him down a notch because he just can't catch the football, and you kind of wonder if it is the yips at this point. But man, he just really can't catch the football, and it's a glaring weakness of his. He can do a lot of different things very, very well, but it's a glaring weakness. And I think that's something that is going to, that's always going to be an issue for him. As far as Emmanuel Carnley, he was bad this past game. There's no other way around it, but he's also a freshman. So there is that. Genesis Smith, we talk about it all the time. Genesis Smith's going to play in the NFL. He's an absolute stud. And Dalton Johnson, having him back obviously is nice. But again, with the secondary, I don't really have a ton of complaints. They've been absolutely destroyed by injuries, and I think they've held it. As opposed to the offense, Dwayne Akina, I got absolutely no problem with Dwayne Akina I got no problem with Dwayne Akina whatsoever. I think he's done a very, very good job, and he's a guy that I think just kind of gets it. I think he gets football, he gets adjustments, and I hope that he's here for a while because I like it. And there's really no other way around it. He's done a very, very good job. He is a coach that, like I said, the players respond to. He knows what he's doing, and it's fun to watch him because when you watch him, you can absolutely tell that he also is. You can also tell that he is a guy that is going to. He's a dude that's going to. Put his guys in the best position to make plays. That's really the best way that I can put it. I like Dwayne Akina. I got no problem with him. I give Dwayne Akina a solid B for the defense, and that's the best way that I could put. That's the best way that I could put that. Now, we're going to talk a lot more about this, obviously, but Arizona also got a very, very big commitment here in basketball, which we need to get to here, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But first, Game Time. Here's the deal. All right, here's the deal with Game Time. Go take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Pick. Download the Game Time app, Create an account and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code. Spell out LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Again, download Gametime app. What time is it? Game time. Okay, now, if you want to go to Arizona-Colorado game, that game's sold out. But guess what? If you're thinking, man, maybe there's an element of a truth that, I could find a ticket somewhere with Gametime. Gametime says, come to us. We will help you. So again, download the Gametime app. Use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. With Gametime, you know that, like I said, for a variety of different aspects, you know that it's good. So check it out. Gametime. What time is it? Gametime. Ooh. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. All right, now let's talk a little bit about Dwayne Aristode. Dwayne Aristode is the absolute man. Tommy Lloyd needed a big commitment Tommy Lloyd needed a big commitment, and he got one in Dwayne Aristode. This 2025 class we've talked about, this is going to be a very, very good this is going to be a very, very good class for the Cats. It's got to be that class for the Cats, and that's kind of where it is. I've always felt that, year 3 or year 4 of Tommy Lloyd, he has enough time to be able to get his enough time to be able to get his players in there. He has enough time to be able to. He has enough time to be able to not only get his players in there, but to be able to, to be able to get those connections. And this is the year that he's got to strike. He's got a ton of different avenues in place. And the first one, he needed a wing. Struck out on Nick Kamania. Nick Kamania, obviously, a really good football player or a really good basketball player, but you needed somebody else to replace him. You got that in wing, Dwayne Aristode. Now, Dwayne Aristode is the absolute man. He is a player that you watch him and you can tell that it's probably going to be a 2-year player. But not only is he going to be a 2-year player, he has got some next level athleticism to him. And not only does he have some next level athleticism, he's got a developing skill game. And that's why what's probably going to hold him back a little bit, and we will see. We'll see how this all does unfold. But so far, you got to have a lot of faith in this. Now, this has also been got to give a big shout out to Jack Murphy as well. He was on this recruitment from day one. Murph is obviously the man. He's done a really, really good job. And with Brent Brennan, that's the other thing as well. This is not Brent Brennan, excuse me. Still got that on there. Tommy Lloyd, that's the next one. So you needed a wing. That was a huge priority. Now you got 2 other dudes you got to get into. You've got to get Koa Pete. Koa Pete has to be there. And because Koa Pete's going to be the player that is going to be that 5-star player that comes in for one season, and you know that he's going to probably average 16 points and 7 or 8 rebounds. Arizona has had enough time to be able to figure out the NIL situation with him, and that should be something that Arizona will be more than okay with. I would imagine that the Cats are in good shape with him. How about that? But you got to be able to get him. This is a class, we've talked about it before. You need multiple 5-star guys. You need multiple dudes who are going to be able to really make the who are really going to be able to make the case. I do think that then you've also got to get a point guard. Braden Burries is that dude. Braden Burries is a guy that is, if you get Jaden Bradley back, he's not a must get. But if you lose Jaden Bradley, you got to get Braden Burries, in my opinion, or somebody of his ilk, because he's another one. Arizona has been on him for a long time, and he's an NBA level player. He can get there, and not only can he get there, he can he's a little bit more mature, so he's a little bit older, so he's going to be ready to rock and roll. But getting Dwayne Aristode is the first real move in the right direction, I think, for Arizona. And honestly, I think that's what's exciting about this, is getting him and then allowing him to be able to continue to develop. And knowing that you got that one wing in there. Now the next step is, and we're going to talk about this throughout the week, the next step is getting to Koa Pete. You get Koa Pete, you get Braden Burries. And I think all the questions about Tommy Lloyd and high school domestic recruiting probably go by the wayside. So there's that. We'll talk about that a lot more, but wanted to touch on where Arizona football is at this point. We're obviously going to talk about this all week. And then with Arizona basketball as well, where it is. This was obviously a big get for Tommy Lloyd, getting Dwayne Aristode. Now it's game on. You got to continue to get even more players, and I think things will continue to work out better. All right, now on that note, though, thanks for making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Mike Luke. Bear down, back the A, and we will be back with you tomorrow. Like I said, very much appreciate you all. We're in football, and basketball season is right around the corner. We will talk with you tomorrow.